Hey, what's happening? Thanks for coming by. I did an update for my CAN app. I just tried it and it was acting a lot worse than I thought it was supposed to. The last version 1005. So I've updated it, and one of the problems was it was get. I saw one problem for sure, but actually I saw two problems for sure. One was when you would I didn't mean to do that. When you would send out something, it could get stuck. I think this will work. I'm having a terrible connection today. Am I right here? Let me just double check. Okay, I'm on Wi-Fi. Um, Basically, what was happening? Okay, yeah, there we go. All right. So this is just a standard diagnostic address, but okay. So what was happening is, you would find some other address. Check it out. I'm making up this sort of paper. These are all addresses from my Impala, so I can pick any, like almost any one of these, and get some kind of response. So I'm picking some crazy addresses, right? So let me see, off the top of my head here. Let's see, 2F9 is an address. And what would happen is something would happen between changing addresses. So this was set to the diagnostic addresses. It will go to 2F9. I believe it'll go to 2F9. Now what happens is when you specify a physical address like this, which is anything that's off of this diagnostic range from 7 up there. I don't know. The diagnostic ranges start with 7. I don't know what the hell off the top of my head, but I think it's 7-0. I'm not even going to try to guess. But the receiving address is based on the address that you put on, and the LM327 will determine the receiving address. But what was happening is, if you came in here right after you did that and you put in a 3F9, first of all, it may not even come back. That was pissing me off. I couldn't believe it was doing that. If it gets stuck and hung there, that's no good either. But if I would change the address, right, to now I changed it to 3F9, and now we're in the threes, and it's obviously the receiving address. Well, I don't know if it's obvious or not, but the receiving address is changing now. I'm saying it's setting it back to 2. See how now we're getting different responses? This is what was causing it. Sometimes the responses were just repeating it. So what we need to do is be able to stop that, and also change our address. So this was crap. I can't. This app is not really that stable as it is. I mean, I guess it's almost stable because it doesn't really crash that much, but to get stuck and hung, that's no good. That's not stability. So anyway, one of the big things is when you change your address now, it'll just go. Whoa, look at all that crap that came back. Would I change the address? Oh, I guess I would turn into OF9, right? So anyway, when you send into the LM327 a particular address, it will, a header, it will coordinate its reception address based on, and I'm not sure what the rules are, but the reception address is based on your address that you set, and it's definitely the first number has a lot to do with it. Oh, people bothering me. Get out of here. Get out of here. Anyway, so where it was. See that? See what I'm saying? I'm in the wrong century. I either need to be far in the past or far in the future, but right now people are too busy. Anyway, so right. So that's just the main heads up. A very short video. I just wanted to show you that I had this problem with the previous version. The previous version was whatever, anything before 1.06. Also, the monitor. Let me go over something real quick with the monitor. Monitor still can be a flaky thing, but basically, right, we were just looking at addresses, right? So let's just say, through whatever kind of painful research I found addresses to look at, I think 3C9 is one that's kind of pumping out data all the time. So let's come into the monitor. So say I wanted to look at 3C9. You can get rid of all the F's. Just put in 3C9 as your header address, and then, because there's 3 digits here, just put in 3 F's. That means get exactly 3C9, and you have to init it there. That kind of is funky. Maybe I could incorporate it, but you have to init it, and then listen, and then you can turn this grid stuff. Okay, looks like I'm not hearing anything. All right, I got one. Okay, so All right, that's not a very busy channel. Looks like it gives us little spurts. So the ideal thing is to see nice clean, a bunch of lines that are pretty clean like that without error, you know, at the end. And then the grid should be able to just sort of take that data, hopefully, and just give it to you. And then you can always clear that just to make sure that you're getting up-to-date data, right? You can just, in either case, you can clear either one. If you're not sure that this thing's getting up-to-date, right? So that's actually a fairly quiet address. I thought there's a louder. Okay, I know anything in the the lower you get, it seems the lower in the addresses that you get. So let me put in OF9. I think that's got some noise coming in it. So let's go. OF9. Get out of here. Just get out of here. OF9. Okay, so I got to initialize it to the new mask and address, new header and address. Whoops, stop. You want to stop it. You want to. Oh, okay, it's getting stuck. Okay, I have an awful connection over here because it rained and the connection is bad. I can't believe rain on the window. Well, okay, so let's see. See, I'm all distracted and stupid. I meant to hit listen. Okay, it's taking a little while. It's taking longer. Okay, so let's say listen, and let me see if anything's coming in. Oh, a bunch of crap. Oh, see how clean that is? That's when you have it narrowed down to a very short, and it's to a very narrow range of addresses. So now I can put the grid on, and the grid will sort of clean that up. And as changes come in, the grid should update as the changes come in. This really is just so you can see the raw of what's coming in, right? What you want to see is nice clean data like that. And the way to do that is by narrowing down what we're looking at, right? Let's see. Is there one F? Okay, there's one E9 I see I have written down. So let's put that in there. 1E9, so let's init to 1E9, which is going to take like 6 years, right? Because we're, jeez. 1E9, okay, so now that's what we want to listen to. So the searching is because I keep resetting the protocol. Okay, so 1E9 has got a whole bunch of crap coming out of it. Turn to the grid, and then I can just clear to make sure that I'm getting up-to-date data. See, it takes a second, and then it gets the data, so it's not constantly coming in. But let's say I want to see, and this is where the thing gets weird, right? Like anything that starts with a 1. Actually, I didn't even have to change that. Let's say I have it set to 1E9 like I did, and I wanted to see instead of just 1E9, I want to see anything that started with 1, right? The way I would do that is I would put a 0 in the don't care case. So I don't care for E, I don't care for where 9 is. So that means it doesn't matter what I had. I can have, doesn't matter because I put zeros there. Right, so if I init to this, then what it should do is it should start trying to bring in everything that starts with a 1. Okay, initialization's taking a long time. Okay, well, I said that a bunch of times, didn't I? So let's see what we got here. So it should be anything that starts with a 1, which might be too much. See, if we see buffer full, okay, yeah, if we see buffer full anywhere in here, it's probably too much data. Right, it's trying to log all this stuff, right? But we can get an idea, a snapshot. The data is going to be corrupted and messed up when it's all scrunched in together. So let's say we want to look for everything that's, that starts with a 1-9, right? Okay, so let's do that. Let's stop this, and we want to look for everything that starts with a 1-9. So we don't care about that last 7, but we want to keep it to 3 digits. So anything that, I'm just putting 7 there, and 7 doesn't matter. We're just anything that starts with a 1-9. So can you guess what we got to do? We got to put an F for that where the 9 is, right? So the F means look exactly for those numbers. So the first F means look exactly for 1. The second F means look exactly for 9, and the 0 means take anything that comes, right? So in that third spot. So let's try that. Let's init again, let me get rid of this keyboard here. It's a nit. Get out there, come on. The car's like, it's like 25 feet away. I don't know what the rain has to do with this. And the charge is fine. All right, so let's see. Okay, so let's listen. Okay, so there's our 1.9. So let's just double check, see what we got coming in. All right, so we got still a lot of noise and weird, but we don't see buffer full, do we? So this will fill to a certain point and then clear itself, but you could just clear it. Just make sure you're getting in. So, all right, so we're getting in noise, and the data error, sometimes these things are expecting a response from some other module, and we are not responding to any of these, so you'll see that sometimes. So let's go back to the grid so we don't have to look at that. So basically, the only data that we have is everything that starts with 9. Now, you see how this is changing for us? I don't know what this is, but the data is changing as it comes in, periodically, and not at a high rate. And so on and so forth. I don't want to belabor this too much, but that's basically how this monitor works. But the commander was the really important thing, because when you send a command to a specific header, right, you don't have to do anything here. See, it's taking so long. The initialization here is really so whether or not you want to see your headers, right? Now, it turns out when I send, okay, so let me just initialize that, just so that I know for sure we're seeing headers. Now, the reason I leave headers on when I'm experimenting is that, like, if I send to 1F9, I get responses from these other addresses that seem to not even be honoring the same protocol, because the standard protocol here should be a full 8 or 16 digits beyond the address. So 2AE01, I don't know what that means. And it's not the address that I talked to. 1C1 is responding. So that's why I leave the headers on. When I'm in the diagnostic address, right, you have the same thing where 7EA, right, this is just a standard. Now I'm just asking, 0100 in the standard diagnostic is just asking for your supported PIDs for everything that starts with a 1. So, 1C1 responded. Look at that. So let's see. Yeah, I think that was like a leftover from the buffer. Right. So all we should be hearing from is just the transmission and the powertrain, and that's what we're hearing from, right? So now the thing is when I specify explicitly, like the powertrain here, for example, come on. Oh my goodness, this is why. Right. Okay. I will only hear from the powertrain when I only specify the powertrain. I'm not hearing from the transmission, which is 7EA. Right? If I go to the diagnostic address, I will hear from 7EA as well. Right? But conversely, if I go to 7E2, which is actually 7EA, that is the functional address of the transmission. We'll see. Whoops, let me get rid of that. 7EA responded. Okay, so anyway, so the point is when I specify a physical address, I get it responding in this upper range. But when I come down to the lower range, let's say 3F9, I'm pretty sure. And then I send 0100, which I don't even know if it means anything to that. But see what I'm getting from 3D1 and 3C9. And 3C1, I'm getting from 3 different addresses here, and all I did is specify one address, and the 3 addresses that responded are not even the addresses that I saw. But if I come up and say 3F9 to my, let's see, 3F9, is there anything coming in here? So we want to look for exactly 3F9, which means this has to be all Fs. So this means FFF means look for exactly 3F9, so let me initialize that. We're just going to see if there's any traffic on the CAN bus from 3F9. And taking forever, let's listen and see what we get. There is. See? There's stuff coming from 3F9. See, I don't know if you follow what I just did there. Let me go to the grid because that'll show the... You're going to put it on the grid for me, software? Look at that. Why did it take so long? Let me clear that again. Anyway, the point is does it really take me that long to parse? Or is it just that, like, why is it so hard for my software to just sort of get this data into the grid? that's why I kept the raw data, because this thing is still not right. See, I'm expect this should be populating the grid with 3F9, but now I can just look. Okay, probably because of this. Anyway, whatever. Because this is not telling me a byte count in these. The first 3 is 3F9, and then the next 2 should be the byte count, and it's not 80. That's why it's not getting into the grid. Anyway, but the thing is, there's traffic on 3F9, but when I send a command to 3F9, just an unknown command, a bunch of other addresses respond. I don't know. Was that supposed to make sense? Probably doesn't make sense. Doesn't sort of make sense. It's like, yeah, okay, so you're sending to this functional address, but all these guys are also, I guess there's some sort of ranges of functional addresses that these listen to, because actually on a CAN bus, everything can hear all the traffic. It's just you filter it out for what you care about, just like we're doing here with this app. Anyway, so there it is. Version 6. This went way longer than I intended to, but hey, I'm just, just doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. Have a great day. And I'll catch you guys. I'm still messing around with the old, bidirectional stuff. And, so my strategy right now is just to sort of map things and see what's going on. And I'm already, since my last video, I already found some interesting things I wrote down up here that don't make sense by you looking at it, but I actually found a new error code E3 that's actually in the manufacturer's definition. So now we have 7. I know I was supposed to be done, right? But now if you look at my last video, 7F is a response code to this command AE, and then the actual response is E3, but that's a manufacturer's defined code. And this is the code is 1103, and that has no definition out here in the world. It's defined by GM. So GM has a response code of 1103, which I have no idea what it means. Also, there's a response code of 0206, which I have no idea what it means. So I'm finding that GM has certain response codes in addition to the standard CAN response codes, and so far I've seen 3. Yeah, 001 is one response code, 0206 is another response, and 1103 is a third response that I've determined to get from this AE command. Blah, 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 right? It's all freaking something hard to understand. Anyway, I need to eat something or something. Maybe coffee. All right, so have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it. And, version 1.06, 105 is kind of crappy. Or actually anything before this is kind of crappy. And until I find out that this is crappy too, then I'll make another version. You know how this goes. It's the same deal. All right, thanks a lot. Take it easy.